Welcome back. Week 2 now, PhillyVoice SportsBets. We appreciate you hanging with us. So if you're with us right now, right away, we don't ask much, of course. You can hit the thumbs up button. Make sure you're subscribed here to the PhillyVoice YouTube channel as it's continuing to grow now with so much football content around the corner. Devan Kaney, Harry Mays, I'm Eitan Shander. Matt Cherico is producing. So for the four of us, thank you. And we have a fifth member of the crew now, everybody. So we can't dive into the 30,000 reminiscent of T.O. at Lehigh. The fact that the Philadelphia Phillies are just hitting the ball to the moon and back right now without mentioning Rita's is on board. So thanks to everybody, Mike DeLea, thanks to Hal Donnelly, thanks to everybody who made this happen. And thanks most importantly to Rita's here. So we have a lot to talk about, but at least we get to look at all of that Rita's right there for the next 15 or minutes. So that's another good plus.
Need a little candy kapow ice, Eitan, after a big weekend.
Absolutely. Yeah. I would like some free Rita's delivery whenever necessary. So Rita's, if you're watching, just let me know.
Well, okay. Yeah, absolutely. Already soliciting for
I love it.
Well, okay. Actually, guys, confession. This is the first summer maybe that I can remember in my life that I have yet to get water ice from anywhere in Philadelphia. Okay. It's shameful.
Almost over,
I have no excuse for that.
Yeah, you realize we're in the final month of summer.
Yeah, I know. Time is running out, and I've really got to step up my water ice game. I don't know what happened, but I mean, I've gotten ice cream, but not that water ice. So,
well, there is a new flavor, and Harry, you've already done this. You've already looked at this. You've already solicited the candy kapow ice. So, what's going on here?
With the Sugar Rush Crush.
Yeah, there's a lot happening here. The Sugar Blast Blendini, the
Blendini
Gelati, or you can get the sugar. See, here's the thing. It's one thing to go an entire summer without getting water ice, but if you're waiting and waiting and waiting, it's almost like you're just biding time at the plate, right, Devin? Just waiting for that right pitch. So this might be it. Maybe it's the candy kapow ice that brings you back out now to the water ice bowl.
You know, I don't even know what candy kapow would taste like, but I'm a big fan of the candy. I love, people probably judge me for this, cotton candy flavored water ice. Yeah. That's usually my go-to. So it sounds like it's right up my alley. I got to try it. Yeah,
you can do the Rita's new fizzy candy topping well.
Yes.
So this is insane. You can see a picture of it. You'll see pictures of it throughout here. We'll remind you throughout the show. But first off, thank you. Head to RitasIce.com. You can see that promo code Fizzy. FIZZY. And as Devin mentioned and Harry alluded to here, you have a ton of different but really new options at Rita's. So take advantage of it. Candylicious fun. It does have that cotton candy feel to it. Something.
Or you can just go back to your old staple, which for me is the mango gelati. It's a home run every time.
Every time. Yeah, with the vanilla custard in between.
Yeah.
So good.
Now,
the Phillies, they hit 14 homers over the weekend.
That was the segue. All right. So once again, we appreciate everybody. Show is brought to you by Rita's.
Everybody! Go candy crazy with Rita's new Candy Kapow Ice. And new app users get a free ice when they download and use offer code SWEET. Stop by your local Rita's today and try it before it's gone. Offer expires September 4th. Be cool, eat your Rita's.
All right, let's look at this here. I know both of you are itching here to talk about the Phillies. It's the come and go of the fact that they smashed the Nationals. Congrats to Devin on Friday. You definitely smashed that overhit. I don't even know what the number was, but you definitely smashed that. I thought it was going to rain, so shame on me for placing a wager in the forecast. I was at Props and Locks Friday night, looked over to the weather guy, Scott. I was like, what the hell happened? It was supposed to rain. So that's not it. I can't blame anything, Harry.
You need to stay out of the weather game. Just stick to sports, okay?
No, I don't know if I can
and you were all about the weather game Friday. Well, because look at what happened Thursday night. The last time we chatted, we won, but it was cut short. So, I mean, fair assessment, Eitan. But, yeah, the weather game, I don't know if meteorology is your calling.
No, I don't know what my calling is at this point, to be fair. So, before we even do that, 30,000 at the link. As somebody who covered the Titans for 2 years, I know for a fact that A.J. Brown has never experienced anything like that. And it's not to knock the Titans or even their fans. It was a fun time down there. But it's just something different. And compounded from, I think, all of this anxiety to angst to kind of where are we looking at it from a fan standpoint last year. There were still a lot of questions about moving forward. Last night, Sunday, the live practice there for fans, for the first time in a long time, it didn't feel like there were so many question marks, so many concerns. So that felt like a team that had fans behind them, like this team is going to do something in the postseason, not like, is this going to be Jalen Hurts' year or anything along those lines?
Yeah, absolutely. And I also loved, I don't know if you guys saw, the entire stadium sang happy birthday to Jalen Hurts, and AJ Brown was right next to him.
That was awesome.
But it also allowed for, the overly aggressive jumping to conclusion, training camp reports, but like on steroids, because this time there were 30,000 people watching and 30,000 people who could take cell phone videos of, AJ Brown maybe dropping a pass or Jalen Hurts not throwing correctly. So it was really exciting. But at this point, I'm just ready for the season to start.
Okay.
I know. I'm already sick of the preseason. So it takes about 3 days for me to be done with the preseason.
And I wish we could bet on like Philly sports media reports from like over under how many reports saying Jalen Hurts is performing badly, or over under how many drop passes from Jalen Reagor. Like, I really wish that we could get into that on this show. Maybe there are those stats somewhere, but someone should start keeping track.
Well, look, that's it. At the end of it, I think you made the point there, which is we can always just start tracking. And I think we've all paid enough attention to where if we were to just randomly associate odds with, I don't know, let's say Jimmy Kempski. Why not? He's on our site here, right? And say, all right, how likely is he to overemphasize or run with one thing or defend on the other side? Like, you could start looking at that, right? Reporter by reporter, and say, all right, Kempski, and try to get odds as far as where his tendencies are. Zach Berman, where his tendencies are. Brandon Lee Gouton, you just go down the list of people who are down there on a routine basis, and you might be onto something. It might be time consuming, don't get me wrong, but I think you're onto something.
We should get started.
All right, well who's going to volunteer to step up?
Yeah, I don't know. That's not really where my energy is best used.
No,
I don't think so.
Well, look, I don't think it's a bad idea. Maybe we'll get Matt on it, like he doesn't have enough to do. Real quick, before we move on, though, I wanted to just throw this out at you. And it's definitely odds associated with it if you look at where the Philadelphia Eagles are for a couple of things. But how bad do you think it has to be? Because I don't think it's going to be anywhere near how bad it has to be in order for the Philadelphia Eagles to move on from Jalen Hurts. Meaning, I think there is a lot that has been made about this year in which it's basically like, dude, you show up, you get even marginally better. They're going to hand you the ball moving forward, just the nature of this game and where quarterbacks are. If you royally screw up, what have you, there's a different conversation. But they're heavy favorites, clearly, minus 175 to make the playoffs. I brought this up, I think, last week. I was accused of baiting Devan by asking if there was anything at all. I don't know, maybe it was the Phillies, but same capacity here about not making the playoffs. So that's one thing you can look at. Yes or no to make the playoffs. No is plus 133. The other is, because I want to save the division finishing position for a second here, but the other is number of games won in the regular season. And if you're really looking at trying to maximize some value here, it's can they win 11 games? Over 10.5 plus 165. 10 games, mind you, is even money. Found that. That was up in a column a month or so ago on Philly Voice. So you can go over 10 even money. You can go over 10.5 plus 165, or you can pass.
Well, I mean, what about over 9.5? Because I think they're a 10 and 17.
Yeah, well, that's an easy way out, hence the minus 136.
Right. But I knew you would jump in on the plus 165. Now, you're saying over 10 is even money. I'll take that.
Which is what I bet. Right.
I'll take that.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you had the option of those three, at least, Devan.
I know I'm looking at it right now because it's really tough. I want to say this is why it's always hard for me to place bets on the Eagles, because I want to say over 10.5, but I can't. I got to go. I think over 8.5. Like, if you want to be safe, it's not like a sexy analysis or best bet, but like that would be my best call here, just because I want them to do well, but like, I don't know, man.
That sounds like the typical Philadelphia fan, doesn't it, John?
Yeah.
Yeah, but look, there's nothing wrong with that. I think
minus 225 though, right?
Well, absolutely.
Yeah.
You're laying a lot there, but that's really what you're taking advantage of, is that
Exactly.
the two teams at the bottom, Washington, New York, we'll talk about that in a second here, should not pose that big of a threat to where it's worth laying a little north of 2-1 with the expectation that at the very least the Eagles are winning 9 games. Even if they do take whatever step back it may be,
right,
they're still hovering around 9. So with that said, though, but I do like the fact that you pulled up short there, and even Harry was trying to pull up short to an extent to over 9.5. If you just look at the division, and I have first at plus 165, second 190, third 320, fourth 650. I don't see any way possible in which they finish worse than both the Washington Commanders and New York Giants. And I'll even say, even if Jalen Hurts doesn't play a snap this season, Gardner Minshew is better enough to finish better than one of those two teams. So it'd be really hard to get to fourth.
Right. It's hard to invent a scenario where they finish fourth. Like, what kind of disaster scenario would it
Everybody
take
gets hurt
for them to finish fourth in this division? I can't come up with one.
I mean, I don't want to be a Debbie Downer here, guys, but Giants aside, fourth, I don't know. But I think that we are discounting the Commanders a little bit too much, honestly. I mean, look at last season. Like, they almost beat us. We only won that last game against them because Rodney McLeod got an interception in their end zone. So, we are kind of overlooking the fact that they do have Carson Wentz, who, yes, I know we want to hate him and we want to say he's trash, but he's not trash. I would say Carson Wentz is probably a little better than Taylor Heineke at quarterback.
You would hope.
And they still have Ron Rivera, who I do like and I think is a good coach. So for me, it's really hard to just automatically discount the Washington Commanders. I know their organization is a disaster as well. Many, many reasons why we want to just say, oh, whatever, but they make me nervous. They do. Yeah. And then the Cowboys are the Cowboys. So they're always kind of going to be our best and biggest competition.
Well, all right, that begs the question then, because at 320, you can jump in for them to finish third. And, here's the reality of it, is that there is, and it's based on what you just laid out, right? So I'll ask you, because this is based off of your analysis here, Devan, is what you said worth the return of just north of 3-1? Because if you think that there is a stronger chance than what that number is, then it's worth a shot, right? Because you're probably getting a better return than maybe it is, 4-1, what have you. Mm-hmm. Point being is that you're still going to be the most unpopular person in any public setting if you're rooting for this bet to cash, but you may be able to fake it. So, there are plenty of people who can, where it's just like, all right, just every time the Eagles turn the ball over.
Yeah, and I never want a reason to root against the Birds.
Money is okay. On this show, money is acceptable.
Yeah. I mean, it's almost like what Jason Kelsey said. Like, when people doubt the Eagles, they always exceed expectations. And then when we are excited and we think that they're going to be really good, they usually disappoint. So maybe it's that mindset. And, if this bet doesn't hit and my consolation prize is the Birds being first in the division, then okay, I can take that. I'll take that loss of money. But if it does, then I'm richer than I was before the season started. So I would say third.
You're smarter. You maybe not be happier, but you're smarter.
Exactly. And a little richer. So
Harry?
Well, I mean, plus 165 for first. I mean, that I can't get off of that. I really can't.
The problem is that if they start hot, that's probably going to dip. Right. But if they don't, and they're somehow neck and neck with Dallas, or maybe they don't start off hot, maybe they lose to Detroit and that dips to 250. I don't know. Mm-hmm. It's a risk. Okay, chalk for Mays. I got
to go chalk there. Plus 165 for first, and they're not losing to Detroit. Come on.
Wait until we get there.
The line.
We're not there yet. We're not there yet.
What are you buying into Coach Campbell? What was that grit hat? Did you get one of those hats that he made?
No, I got this Awesemo one instead.
Oh, okay.
No, I didn't get a grit hat, but I'm gonna buy a grit. I'm sure I can get a grit hat. And before we do week 1, Eagles-Lions, I'm going to rock that grit hat.
Eitan, he's the exact coach you can't stand. one of those guys that's always using like the little what do you call them? Like you had a word for it when we did the show with Barrett, and it used to drive you insane. But he does that.
Phrases, idioms.
Yeah, just like
I don't know.
Sort of that neat, like
coach speak. No.
Yes, all that crap. He is that guy.
Yeah, but you know what? This is a perfect example of what this show is versus everything else. All of that doesn't matter when you are so strong against the spread. And look, I'll leave it at that. I wasn't even trying to talk about Detroit and Philadelphia. Shame on you. All right. I have one thing I want to leave you with here with Arizona and Kansas City week 1. But is there anything at all, I mean, with the Phillies, anything at all that either of you, doesn't even need to be in the sports world by any means, that you want to get out there for the people?
Ooh.
Well, I mean, congratulations to Dick Vermeil and his family on being inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I happened to catch a little bit of that presentation over the weekend. That was really cool. And as far as the Phillies, they had a great weekend as far as wins and losses, but a bad end of the weekend with the whole celebration, if you will, with Pete Rose. I don't know if we have to get into that, but everybody knows what I'm talking about. And I'm tempering my enthusiasm with them right now because they've just spent a week playing AAA teams. I'm not getting carried away with the Phillies just yet.
Yeah, Harry, you just took my points out of my mouth. Phillies have been fun and exciting to watch, but we can't always play the Nats and the Pirates.
Right.
So we'll see moving forward, but they have been fun to watch for the first time. And I'm excited to see where hopefully they can keep up this momentum when they play against actually, more competitive teams. The Pete Rose game was certainly an experience for, I think, everyone watching, everyone part of the broadcast. That's all I have to say about that.
Yeah. And look, I think it's separate, as far as the Rose stuff, where it's addressing a reporter, dressing down a reporter in that nature on a question that is on the table, and he has to be ready and willing to be able to answer that, versus what he said as far as shit and the what was he talking about?
How do you let him in the booth?
Well, that's the thing. So this is what I would say is right. Like the outrage, I think, is justifiable there, especially for the reporter who's doing her job. But here would be my question. All right. And I'll say minus 220 plus 280. All right. Pretty decent. Right there. Mm-hmm. A half, over under a half appearances for Pete Rose for the rest of his life on NBC Sports.
Yes.
Under?
Way under.
Never again? He's done?
I don't think so.
Never. He is done.
Okay.
0%.
I don't have a problem with that. I was curious if anybody was willing to take the over at plus money. That's all.
No, absolutely not.
Not that you would want it, either
Right.
of you. I'm just asking
No.
if you would bet it.
No.
Trust me, somebody on that global market site or the emails that you all get to is going to have it up there. Just wait. All right. Let me leave you with this. Last thought here. All right. Week 1, Chiefs laying 3 points against the Cardinals. There's one big weakness against the Chiefs that nobody seems to take advantage of, and that's rushing average. You can run against Steve Spags. You can run against Spagnuolo's defense. It's just there as far as rushing average. The problem is that they rank so high, if you will, defensively in rushing attempts because nobody wants to run the football. They just see Mahomes and all of this big, bad offense there trying to pass, trying to keep up. So they're super high as far as rush average, but super low as far as rush attempts. Keep that in mind. Cliff Kingsbury, 8-14-1 overall, just against the spread against teams with a winning record. Chiefs are going to finish with a winning record. We can pretty much look at that. He's 2-5 against the spread with 22 rush attempts or less, 1-15 against the spread, trailing at the half. This guy, outside of the old coach in Chicago, nobody abandons the run faster than Cliff Kingsbury. This is a match made in heaven to take Andy Reid and the Chiefs at -3. Just look, it's one thing to hit you with one trend. It's one thing to hit you with two trends. But when you have a rain just coming down of like 6 things working against somebody, it's hard to ignore that. So jumping on the Chiefs, the Chiefs right now -3.
I like it. Yeah, I got no problem taking that.
All right. We'll see
you.
You
didn't even
Wednesday.
need to work that hard to talk me into that one.
I never know. So I just try to get it all out there ahead of time, and then there's any time to exhale, we can talk after. All right. So we appreciate you hanging with us. We're back Wednesday. Hit the thumbs up button. Make sure you're subscribed here. Let's cash some tickets.